We're all familiar with the saying or the advice, the sage advice, that if you do something you love, you'll never work a day in your life. And that's because your work won't be considered a burden. It won't be considered a job or a career. Rather, it'll be a calling. And if it's a calling, it's meaningful. It's as if you've never worked a day in your life because you're doing something that you love. And this perhaps is what the one of the Lubliner Ravs, the Rav Elio Klatskin, writes, the late 20th century chief rabbi of Lublin, writes to explain what it was about the Sar Hamashkim, about the butler, that he was restored to his post, whereas the baker was not. And if you look in the words of the Chumash, at each moment of explaining his dream to Yosef, he talks about Paro, how much he loves essentially his master. I had Paro's cup in my hand. I pressed the wine into Paro's cup, and I placed the cup into Paro's hand. Each and every moment, his focus was squarely on Paro. Whereas the baker makes one allusion, one mention of the breads that are baked for Paro. You see, the baker viewed his job or his work as a job, as a career. The butler viewed it as a calling. And when you're so wrapped up, when you're enveloped in a sense of this commitment and dedication to the person that you're serving or the institution or the company that you serve, that is an individual who eventually will be restored to his or her rightful place. And sure enough, the butler was restored to his place. And perhaps with this understanding, we can it can help us unlock a very fascinating statement in the Talmud Yerushalmi. The Gemara Yerushalmi mentions that we drink 4 cups of wine on Pesach. Why? The classic understanding is that it's connected to the 4 cups or the 4 mentions of redemption. V'hotzeisi, v'hitzalti, v'ga'alti, v'lakachti. I will take you out, I will save you, I will bring you, and I will redeem you, and I will take you into the land. I will take you. But the Yerushalmi brings another opinion, which says the 4 cups of wine that we drink on Pesach are connected to the 4 mentions of Paro's cup by the butler. Technically, 3 by the butler, 1 by Yosef. What's the significance? What's the connection to Pesach? But perhaps with this understanding, we can explain that the 4 cups of wine, the Kos Paro, explains how the deep love that the butler had for his king, which in turn shows us the deep love and meaning that we are supposed to have for our king, Melech Malchei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We are saved only if we have that deep relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that's such a powerful idea for us because there are 2 ways to serve God. One is as an inheritance and one is as a heritage. Many people say, look, I grew up Jewish. This is what my parents do. This is how they do it. I'll continue the same way. But the meaning is not there. It's like a career. I have to do it because that's what my parents did. So of course I'm going to come to shul. Sure, I'll keep a kosher home. Sure, I'll marry Jewish, and so on and so forth. But if your religion becomes a heritage, if it becomes a calling, then it's something that you live and breathe. And you do it not because it's what your parents did and your bubbies and zadis did. It's because you want it as well. And the goal for us in all of our lives on the professional level is to look for a career that's not just a career but a calling. And as it pertains to our relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, yes, an inheritance is good. It's always good to have an inheritance, have a Masorah, have a tradition. But then you have to make it your own. Make it a heritage that's yours, truly uniquely yours, and one that you can pass down for the future. Have a wonderful Shabbos.